Welcome to Becoming with Erika, a space where we hear out loud, grow through what tried to break us, and become everything we are meant to be. Today, I want to talk about something I think all of us spend way too much time doing: waiting. Waiting for the storm to pass, waiting for our life to get easier, waiting for the pain to stop, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until you're no longer scared, waiting until we finally feel ready. Ay. But what if life was never meant to be lived between the storms? What if the secret the secret isn't how to avoid the rain? What if the secret is to learn how to dance in it? I used to think happiness lived on the other side of problems. Like when when you get that promotion, when you get out of debt, when the relationship gets better, when the heartbreak heals, when life finally settles down, then I'll be happy. Then I'll have peace. Then I'll enjoy my life. But here's what I've learned. There is always another storm. Always another storm. Not because life is unfair, but because growth requires weather. Think about it. Flowers need rain, the trees need wind, diamond needs pressure, gold needs fire, and somehow we expect our growth to happen under perfect conditions. The truth is, some of the strongest versions of ourselves are built in the middle of the storm, not after it, during it. Matthew 14:29 says, "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on water, and came towards Jesus. I think about Peter walking on water. Most people would focus on the miracle, but I often think about the storm. The waves didn't stop Peter from stepping out of that boat. The wind didn't disappear. The uncertainty was still there. Jesus didn't calm the storm first. He simply said, "Come." And Peter had a choice: stay safe in the boat or trust God in the storm. How many of us are waiting for God to calm everything before we move, before we start a business, before we write the book, before we launch a podcast, before we forgive, before we heal, before we take the first step? But maybe God is saying the same thing he said to Peter. Come, not when it's comfortable, not when it's guaranteed, now. Because faith isn't trusting God when the storm is over. Faith is trusting Him while the rain is still falling. I know some of you listening are in a storm right now. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a diagnosis, maybe it's grief, maybe you're carrying a burden that nobody knows about. And if that's you, I want you to hear this. You don't have to pretend the storm isn't hard. You don't have to fake being okay. You don't have to force positivity. But don't let the storm steal the life you're living. There is still laughter available. There is still gratitude available. There is still beauty available. There is still purpose available. Even here, especially here. On a personal level, one of the storms I thought was going to destroy me almost did. There was a time in my life when I honestly questioned why I should keep going. I felt invisible. I felt forgotten. I felt like I didn't matter. I felt unworthy, unloved, like my absence wouldn't make a difference to anybody. The storm had convinced me of this lie, that I wasn't enough, that my story was over. But God had a different plan. In the middle of what I thought was my ending, He gave me a blessing. Not just a blessing. He gave me my greatest reason to keep living, my greatest why. the reason I begin to believe again, the reason I started fighting for my future, the reason I learned that I was cared for, that I was worthy, that I mattered, that I was loved. God gave me a little human to pour my love into, a reason to become the person I desperately needed when I was hurting, my son. Looking back now, I can see that what I thought would break me actually built me. God didn't waste the storm, He used it. And because of that, some of the most beautiful moments of my life didn't happen after the storm. They happened because of it. Some of the most beautiful moments of my life didn't happen just because I was okay or everything around me was happening the way it's supposed to. It happened because of it. It happened because the storm taught me who I was. The storm taught me who God was. The storm taught me what mattered. The storm taught me resilience. The storms taught me faith. The storm taught me that I was stronger than I thought. And maybe that's why we dance. Not because the rain is pleasant, but because we've learned the rain isn't permanent. We dance because we know who walks with us through it. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. The rivers will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you will be scorched, and the flames will not burn you." Did you notice how God didn't say if? He said when. The promise was never that we'd void the storm. The promise was that we wouldn't face them alone. So if you're in your storm today, maybe your assignment isn't to keep staring at the clouds. Maybe it's to lift your eyes, take the next step, find one thing to be grateful for, find one reason to smile, find a moment of joy, and dance in the rain. Dance your little soul off. Because becoming doesn't happen after the storm. Sometimes becoming happens right in the middle of it. And remember, you're not alone. Not only do you have God by your side all the time, you now have me. So let's dance together. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, keep becoming. Thank you, and God bless.